You're part of a good church, and you're with good people here if you attend this church. And welcome. If you don't, if you're anybody on our coaching team that's here tonight that maybe showed up, so a few of you guys came, welcome, very cool. Good to have you guys. So I am going to try to deliver a little more value real quick. That's me. Okay, so I want you to follow me on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, I'm on Facebook too. Just a little teaser. My last post today, or one of my posts today, started with, guys, have you ever wished you were a woman? So just a little teaser. I'm not going to go into it and tell you where it's going, but if you want to know what that's all about, I'm on Instagram. Let me introduce you to my family real quick. This is my family. I've got 2 daughters and my beautiful wife. I know it's hard to tell which one is my wife. She's the girl in the middle. And then I've got 1 son and then a nephew, because my brother's in prison, so he spends a lot of time with us. That wasn't a joke, he really is. Somebody's like, so, okay, but it's cool, it's cool. So he's kind of part of the family, but that's our family. I like this screen, how you get to see the next slide that's up. That's totally cool, very cool. So, okay, so listen, tonight it's not about me, it's about you guys. It's about delivering some value so you can walk out of here and be a better leader, be a little more successful, walk around out of here with some tools, with something in your tool belt that you can use that will improve your life, which as a result will help you improve the lives of others, because that's what it's all about, right, Terry? But I do want to give you just a little bit of context on what it is that qualifies me to share a few of the things I'm going to share tonight. And I actually love that you've already heard some of the things. Because what I've found with working with thousands of clients and thousands of coaches, success leaves clues. And I'm listening to Terry, and I'm like, yep. I'm listening to Dan talking about growth and all those things on that spiritual growth. I'm like, yep. It's all the same. Success leaves clues. You find a successful person, you find a good leader, and you're going to find all the same things. And in working with so many coaches, I've found some are successful, some are more successful than others, some are ultra successful, some are not as successful. And to me, it's what I call cracking the code. Okay, any of our team that's here that works with me, you hear me say that all the time. Because in our business, once you crack the code, you can go wherever you want with it. There's basically 4 things you learn and you master over time, and then it's sky's the limit. Those things are not, they're simple, they're not easy. So the process is cracking that code. And to me, it's like, have you ever seen that movie, A Beautiful Mind, with Russell Crowe? I don't remember if you remember the scene. I think he was like writing on a window or maybe a whiteboard, and there's all these formulas and stuff, and to him, it just all kind of started floating together, and it was like he was reading a kid's book. It just like clicked. He's like, he just got it all. To me, in our particular business, that's kind of what I see, and it's almost plain as day, the ones that do well and the ones don't, and it's like this, and this. So it all started for us 4 years ago. Was it 4? Yeah, a little over 4 years ago now. And this is where I kind of learned all of this, and over the years have, and trust me, for those of you that know me, I have a long way to go. I don't have all this perfected at all. None of us ever will. We just go down that road of mastering all these concepts and getting better at them day after day, year after year, decade after decade. And I remember 4 years ago, I was in a miserable place. I was 80 pounds overweight. I was not happy with what I was doing. I was mad at life. That overflowed to my kids. It overflowed to my wife. You know, when you kind of don't like yourself, it overflows on people around you. You know what I'm talking about? That was my life. But the thing is, in my 20s, traveling with this guy, I mean, I was ready to, what we used to say, charge hell with a water pistol, right? I was ready man, the biggest dreams you could ever imagine, the biggest beliefs in what we were going to accomplish and the people we were going to impact. And I was a dreamer, and I was afraid of nothing when it came to success. Anything was possible. And something happened, and it started to happen when I started to have kids. And so I tell my wife, I think our kids literally sucked the life out of me. Has anybody experienced that? You know what I'm talking about? It's like, oh, geez, okay. And you know what I'm talking about if you know what I'm talking about. And I started to get older, and this is what I thought, because I remembered those times, and I thought that maybe that's just kind of what happens when you're young, right? You kind of grow out of that. You grow older, this is what happens. The kids suck the life out of you, and now it's about them, and it's about paying the bills, and it's about clocking in at work and doing all these things. And I remember I took a sabbatical. I went away for about 6 weeks, a little bit of it with the family, but most of it by myself to figure out what the heck, because I just couldn't believe that this was going to be my life. And the sad thing is, this is the place that most people exist at that age. I was 39 years old, and that's where people exist, and they live that way for the rest of their life. And I just wasn't, if that's the way it was going to be, then that's the way it was going to be, but I had to know. And I went on a sabbatical, and I prayed, and I asked God to help me and change this, and what's going on, and I need direction, and all these things. And he revealed about 5 different areas of my life. I call them trailheads, right? And I remember I came back from the sabbatical, and I told people that I was going to do this, and I came back, and they were looking at me like, hey, are you changed? Did anything happen? Kind of how was it? Like waiting for this. And the thing is, God didn't change anything. But God showed me what I needed to change. The areas in my life that because I had spent a whole lot of time down at altars and praying, and God, I want this life to the fullest, and take this away, and God, help me lose weight. And God's like, I want all that for you too, dude. Now go do it. Go do the work. Because God does his part, but there's a whole part that we have to do. And I hope this doesn't sound sacrilegious, but you can pray until you're blue in the face. If you don't do your part, I'm telling you, dude, if you could pray and lose 80 pounds, oh my gosh, what a great diet, right? Some of you would be thinner than you are now. And you could actually tell who's praying and who isn't, right? Oh, I need to hit the prayer closet a little bit more there, right, buddy? A lot of things in life work that way. And it wasn't that God wasn't doing his part. It wasn't that I didn't love God. It's not that I wasn't praying. It's that I wasn't doing my part. And God told me 3 words, and our team will recognize these words. It's the way I've lived my life over the last 4 years with God as a partner. Do the work. And my wife added to it. I don't know how you can add to what God says to you, but she did. And she says, don't just do the work, but also do the heart work. It's not just the hard work, but do the heart work too. Those 2 things combined is where true success comes. So let me show you. I'm not going to get into this. It's my soapbox, and tonight's not the night. But I want to show you just on the physical side, kind of a little bit of the transformation in 6 months, 80 pounds, because I listened to God and said I'm going to do the work. But the best part about that is not getting to float on a unicorn, and that was a few months ago. But the next picture, 2 events I went with I went to father-daughter dances I went with my daughters to. They were 2 very different experiences. The best part about this, when I decided I was going to do the work and I was going to take responsibility for how good of a leader I was, how successful I wasn't going to call it luck. I wasn't going to blame it on God or blame it on the devil, because it was me. When I decided to take responsibility, here's what happened. My kids got a new dad. My wife got a new husband. It's not just us that's on the line here. A key question I ask every single one of my clients is, before they start, listen, if you do this, that's great. You're going to lose weight. You're going to have energy. You're going to have all these things. Who else in your life is going to be impacted if you really do this? Whose life is going to be impacted? And that's what's on the line. You guys we talk about the leadership gap, and how to close that gap, closing that gap is not about you being a better leader. It's about you being a better leader so you can impact other people. Isn't that right, Terry? Isn't that right, Dan, Kelly? It's about the impact that you have. And when you step it up and you do the hard work and you do the hard work and you give it everything you got to grow year over year, more people's lives are impacted. If I didn't make a decision, just the way that our company works, if I didn't make a decision to do the work just in the area of physical health, there are 50,000 people's lives that would be different today because of that one. And I don't say that to brag. We all have, you'll never know the impact you have and how far it reaches. Because I was looking at it this way. It's not just 50,000 people. There's a lot of kids involved, and there's spouses involved, and there's grandkids involved, and there's generations involved. We don't realize how much of an impact we can have when we go down that road to being a better leader. So I want to share from that. And I've got 7 things here. I'm probably going to get to about 3 from looking at the time here. So I had that revelation. Started with taking personal responsibility. The key to being a great leader, I've found, and I'm on that road to being a great leader, is first learning how to lead yourself. That's the key, because when you lead yourself, that overflows. More people follow you. They have respect. They in multiple areas of your life, leading yourself first is the beginning of being a great leader. You can read, and I see this all the time. I lived it. I read every John Maxwell book there was out there about being a leader. But I wasn't a tenth of the leader that I am now because I wasn't leading myself in 5 key areas of my life. And someday I'll share what those 5 are. One was my health. Not today, just to tease you a little bit. So here's just a few things that are key in leading yourself. First of all, leaders are constantly growing. Okay, ask my wife, ask Pastor Dan, ask Matt, because we've been hanging out a little bit these weeks, or these last few days, Kelly. I have some issues. Does anybody else have issues, or am I the only one? One of my issues, if you ask my wife, is I don't like to see pictures of our kids when they were younger. Does anybody else feel that? Like, it upsets me because those kids are not around anymore. Those kids are gone. And they're replaced with this other kid that talks back a little more, that thinks a little more for themselves. Like, I see these pictures of our kids as babies, and I tell my wife, I'm like, I don't want to see that. She shows me all the time hop stuff. I'm like, I don't, because I remember back, and I'm like, I can never get that time back with that child. And it really chokes me up. I have like anxiety attacks. I'm telling you, I have issues. So if you have issues, you can still be a good leader and still do a lot of great stuff. My biggest claim to fame, the reason, one of the biggest reasons that I'm able to lead people, and some of the coaches in here will tell you, is because they look at me and they get to know me and they go, if Dan can do that, I totally got it, all right? That's what I give to people, okay? Dude, I did this, so it's fair game for anybody that wants to, because there's nothing special about me. I'm not trying to be humble. That's genuinely it. I have issues. I won't share all of them. Trust me. Okay, but that's one issue that I have, and it's a real issue. And here's the deal. That's really what happens year after year, right? There's no resolution for my issue in this story. I'm just explaining, but that's what happens. That 3-year-old kid is replaced with a 4-year-old kid. Aren't they completely different? And then my 12-year-old kid, my daughter, was replaced with a 20-year-old overnight. Any of you have teenage daughters? One of you. That's why nobody got it. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, right? You with me? Okay. So she's 13 going on 20. But year after year, because kids grow, right? No matter how much I love that baby, it wouldn't be right if that baby stayed as a baby. And I want to ask you a question, because we all went through that metamorphosis in our life. Key question I want to ask you, when did that stop happening for you? The reason I was where I was, I had a lot of years of awesome growth. But then I had about 10 of the same years with no growth. I do not want to be the same person 1 year from now. I don't. I want to meet people and I want people to go, wow, you've changed. Darn right. That's right. Because leaders are committed to growing. They don't stay the same. And that means you got to do the work to grow. And Dan talked about this. Pastor Dan talked, the growth. I love your spiritual growth plan. That's exactly it. So I'm not going to spend much time on it. I think, and this probably won't happen, but we're going to get to the end of our life. We're going to get to heaven, and God's going to go, this is who you could have been. This is the impact that you could have had. My goal is to be as close to that guy as I possibly can. I don't want that guy to be a stranger to me. If he is, I've failed. Even if I make it into heaven. Because my impact on earth is done. Our impact on earth only happens while we are here and what we leave behind. So I want to be twins with that guy, right? So growth, commitment to growth. Leaders are constantly growing. Number 2, leaders are confident, and this is huge. I wish I had some time. I could spend 30 minutes just on this. Have you ever noticed leaders are confident? I'm going to give you a key to raise your self-confidence. So my self-esteem, my self-confidence, and I get it, our confidence comes from God, but some of us, does anybody ever deal with insecurity? I was talking to one of our coaches a couple weeks ago, and we were texting back and forth, and she goes, I'm so stupid, because she did something way outside the system, and it was kind of stupid. But she goes, I'm so stupid. And I go, would you say that to a member of your family or one of your close friends? She's like, no. I'm like, why do you say it? Why do you allow yourself to say it to yourself? And we treat ourselves in a way, in our thoughts, in our mind, all day long in a way that we would never, ever treat somebody that we cared about. And the reason why, I'm going to tell you, if you can grasp this one thing tonight, this will be worth a decade of growth, okay? This is huge. Do you know how to raise your self-confidence and your self-esteem? Here's what it comes down to: honoring commitments to yourself. The reason I genuinely believe anything's possible, the reason I genuinely, when I was young, is because I was just dumb and didn't know any better. But now it's because I know who I am, I know who God created, and I know that I have the power to create, with God's help, whatever it is that I want to create. I genuinely believe that. We will be giving away $1 million a year. I have zero doubt. We're well on our way. And the reason why, here's when I started to treat my kids better. I started to treat my wife better. My wife will tell you she got a new husband. She's like, it's not that I didn't like the old one, but this one's much better. This is kind of the one that I married, And the thing is, when I started down some of these trailheads, I call them, in my life, I started making small commitments to myself, and I started honoring those commitments to myself. If you have low self-esteem and low confidence, it is nearly impossible to be an effective leader. And here's how you raise that. Your self-esteem, do you know what it is? It's your reputation that you have with yourself. All of us have a reputation with ourselves, for ourselves. It's the way your reputation is, you guys are awesome. I love the Baileys. They're our travel pimps. And, or something. I don't know how that. Anyway, they're awesome. If you need to get any travel stuff done, these are the guys. Okay, so, but everybody we know, they kind of have a reputation with us, right? Well, you have one with yourself too. Let me ask you a question. If you had a close friend that you're around all the time, or a family member, and half the time they made a commitment, they didn't honor that commitment, what would their reputation be like to you? That's why our self-esteem is low. Because we make commitments to ourselves and then we don't honor them. We wouldn't trust somebody like that, so now we don't trust ourselves. We don't believe that person's going to follow through, so we don't believe in ourselves. The way to get that back is to start making small commitments and honoring them. When you make a commitment to yourself, no matter how small, honor that commitment. Your reputation with yourself will start to get higher and higher. And I've experienced that over the last 4 years. I made a commitment I was going to lose 80 pounds. And I did it. And I was on top of the world when I came out on the other side of that. I was a different person than I was 6 months before because it was daily commitments that I said, I'm going to do this, and then I followed through with it. Leaders have that confidence because they've got integrity. They honor the things that they say not only to other people. So you can't live a life of duplicity where you have integrity and you honor your commitments to everyone else and you're all proud of yourself, but then you break your commitments to yourself. Because then you've got a really bad reputation with yourself. And when you don't trust yourself, you can't lead as effectively as you could. Does that make sense? All right, I got 5 minutes. Let me see which ones I want to hit here. Oh, this is a small one. This is super practical, but this is something that I've learned. Leaders control their day. And this is just a little side freebie. It's a skill set. I believe there's an equation. There's mindsets, skill sets, and there's action. That's where success comes in, okay? Mindsets drive most of your action. So the mindset is where 75, 80% of this happens. Mindsets, and there's skill sets. There's specific things that you have to learn. And then if you don't put any of it into action, then there's no success. You can learn as much as you want. How many of you know somebody that knows everything there is to know about leadership and everything else? Does that mean my time's up? Did you pay the electric bill? It's good. I can stand in the dark. What was I talking about? Mindset. So mindset, skill sets, and action. Okay, here's a quick skill set for you. Leaders control their day. And I'm going to give you a little tiny tip. It's not spiritual at all, but it is very practical. I used to get up and I would look at my phone very first thing. I have a very tight morning routine every day, and I have had for a very long time, and that has contributed to a massive amount of my success. I control especially the first hour of my day. What most people do, they look at their phone and they let what somebody posted on social media, what somebody texted them, what somebody sent by email, hijack their emotions for the day. Meaning, if something good comes in, oh, it's going to be a great day. If something bad or something, and they start their day like that, and kids get out of bed, and blah, blah. Don't allow that to happen. Don't look at your freaking phone. You control the first hour of your day. Oh, I don't have time. Get up an hour earlier. Because that hour will impact you doing the things I'm going to talk about in a second more than an hour of sleep will. And by the way, just a tip, go to bed earlier the night before instead of watching Netflix. Okay? Is this too practical? Because this is leading yourself. Okay? And I got 3 minutes, man. I got like really good stuff here. No, I'm not. I'm going to honor the time. Because I made a commitment. I said I'm not going to honor the time. So, and I didn't commit to myself either, just to be clear on that, so we're good. Because I know me. All right, I'm kidding, maybe. Okay. Get up, first thing. I literally hop out of my bed, literally. I roll out of my bed because I'm like, crap, I got to get up. Every morning, that never changes for me. I'm just sorry. You just decide and you do it. You honor that commitment to yourself. I literally roll out of my bed and I start my day out like this. And not because I'm super spiritual, because I don't really have to walk yet, so I can kind of chill a little bit and kind of wake up. But you know what one of my favorite things is? When my little guy walks in and goes, Dad, what are you doing? And I get to tell him, explain to him how I'm starting my day. You see how leading myself helps me lead others? That happens all over in your life. But I started not with just being grateful, just thanking God for an awesome day. I journal things I'm grateful for. I journal prayers. I spend a little bit of time sweating. Every single morning, I get my blood flowing. I've got a treadmill. I get on it for 15 minutes, just enough to sweat. And that's besides any other workout that I do. You can do jumping jacks. You can do push-ups. You can do anything. Get that blood flowing through your brain, through your body, through your whole being. It is an incredible way to start out your day. And there's all kinds of books on that. There's a book called The Miracle Morning that I would recommend, super practical. It doesn't have to be my morning routine. Create a morning routine that you honor, and you will see your life drastically change. Because then you go into your day the way that you want to go into your day. It's powerful. All right, I need to hit I'm going to hit one more here. I have 5 more. I'm going to hit 2 more real quick. Leaders know how to manage discouragement. This is huge. The number one killer of dreams, success, leadership, impact is discouragement. I see it in my business all the time. I'm actually talking about it tomorrow to a few thousand coaches that I'm going to be doing a video webinar with. That there's 2 things that'll take you out of the game. 1, you don't grow, you just live the same year in our coaching world year after year. 2, you quit. If you grow and you don't quit, you can take it wherever you want to. You want to make 6 figures, you want to make 7 figures, whatever it is. And I just genuinely believe that. It's the same thing for anything, not just in our world. Discouragement. What does that mean? Removing courage. Remove courage when you're discouraged. And I'm just going to give you the antidote. I got a whole great story that goes along with this, but I don't have time because I have 40 seconds left. So often discouragement comes, it's outside of your control. Everybody get that? You had nothing to do with it, okay? If you can put yourself in a mindset of things don't happen to me, they happen for me. That will help that. Listen, crap is going to happen. Welcome to earth, okay? You can let that remove your courage, or you can battle it, and I'm going to tell you how in a second here. Sometimes it's your fault. Sometimes you failed. Sometimes you fell down. Now, real quick, I want you to think about the last time you fell down. Like literally, physically, when's the last time you fell down? Like, I remember last time I fell down, I was coming down the stairs. I actually just almost did it over here. It was in my house, and I'm like, and I fell down, and I'm like, crap, did anybody see that? Nobody saw it? I'm like, that was embarrassing. Okay, so does everybody raise your hand when you have that in your mind? The last time it might have been 5 years ago, okay? And some of you are lying. When's the last time you fell down? Raise your hand when you got it and keep your hand up. Everybody got it? Has anybody never fallen down? Anybody? You've never fallen down? Oh, your hand was still up. Okay. Now here's what I want you to imagine. I want you to imagine, what if you had stayed there? Where would you be right now? What would the time be like from there to here? Awkward, right? But yet we do that with so many areas of our life. Hey, listen, welcome. I've got a great mentor that when I screw something up, and I do it all the time, and I'm like, oh, I did this or whatever. She's like, oh, congratulations. Now we all know you're not perfect. Let's move on. So congratulations. None of you are perfect. You're going to fail. You're going to fall down. When that happens, instead of wallowing in the discouragement and whining and feeling like you have to pay penance of being sad for a certain amount of time before everything's okay, get up and move on. The greatest antidote for discouragement, who knows what it is? Action. Action. Whatever your dream is, whatever your goal is, whatever it is that you're pursuing, when discouragement comes in, whether it's your fault or it's somebody else's fault, doesn't matter. It's still discouragement, right? The greatest antidote is action. Get up and get marching back towards your goal again immediately. The enemy would love to keep you down, would love to get up all up in your mind. You control your mind. Do you allow anybody else to have control of your mind? I wish I had time for that one. I'm not going to. Many of us do. But action. So if you can, and then the last one is this, and Dan already said it, and Terry already said it, but this kind of brings it all together. I think it was Zig Ziglar that said, and this is basically our secret to success, to have everything you want in life, just help enough other people get what they want. Leaders' number one goal is to help others